It is March, it is madness, it is Oklahoma City, Houston, Texas A&M tonight. I'm Jason Bristol from KHO U11 News in Houston.
And I'm Sydney Wicker with KCEN.
And I'm Madison Palumbo with KCEN.
All right, let's talk Houston and Texas A&M. I'm really surprised by the betting line. One sportsbook I saw had a 10-point spread in favor of the Cougars. I'm thinking this is a 5-point game. Where are you guys at?
I'm in the same boat as you. Like, it's shocking. 10 points is a lot. Have we not seen enough Bucky ball to think that 10 points is a little crazy?
It is. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think, for sure. I mean, A&M is so physical, and they're all over the court. I mean, but so is Houston. So I think it's really going to go back and forth. I would be shocked if one team was blown out by the other team.
And for those of you watching us on Facebook, KHO U11 Facebook page or the KCEN Facebook page, drop us a comment, a question, what the atmosphere is like, how many A&M fans we've seen, how many Houston fans we've seen. For those in Houston who aren't Texas A&M grads or fans, what is the best way to describe Bucky ball?
You know, it's funny because we've asked a lot of fans that question. Like, do you know how to explain it to people? And it seems like a lot of people are able to kind of put it into words. It's fast-paced, it's quick, it's getting down the court as fast as you can and playing some really physical defense. That's at the most simple level of Bucky ball. I will say, during Bucky's introductory press conference, he made it very clear, Texas is known for a Bucky's, but he wants them to start becoming known for Bucky. So, they've made a stamp on that, and it's pretty cool, too, talking to some fans. Nebraska fans are everywhere here in OKC.
Everywhere.
We've seen a sea of red. If it hasn't been Houston, it's been Nebraska.
No, it's been mostly Nebraska.
It's been mostly Nebraska,
yeah.
And those fans have said, we love Bucky ball. So it seems like it's translated pretty far, too. It's not just the Texas A&M fans that know about it. It seems like it's college basketball that's learning about it.
But can it be hindered or hampered when you have experience in the backcourt on the opposing team? Because Houston has Emmanuel Sharp and they have Milos Uzan, two guys who've been there and done that. Do you think that they will be able to crack the code of whatever Bucky ball is?
I think so. I mean, if they play the way they played against St. Mary's, I definitely think they do have a chance. And I mean, they're used to tall, physical guys. I mean, with St. Mary's, 3 guys were over 7 feet tall, and they were able to, dominate on rebounding. And if they just bring that momentum into this matchup, I think it'll be a pretty fair game. I mean, Emmanuel and Kingston and everyone's, really experienced, but we'll have to see.
Well, Kingston obviously has been one of the best freshmen in the country.
Hands down.
Hands down. He is a difference maker. He is a guy that is kind of like a cheat code for anything. The one thing I noticed in having covered Houston for a number of years now is that he is probably the best guy we've seen in a while that can beat guys off a dribble, in my opinion. And I think that is something that sometimes they've lacked in the past. And the one issue they've had is inside scoring or a lack thereof. And when you rely on a team or when you rely on perimeter shooting like Houston has, and if you're not hitting, you have inside scoring, that's a bit of an issue. And I'm also wondering about the experience factor. Houston starts 2 freshmen, and what are some of the ages of these guys on A&M? Are they in their 30s?
They're getting pretty close. Knocking on the door at least. They're definitely a senior-driven, very experienced team. But also you have to remember, this team all came together this season.
Yep.
They were not a team that started and has played together for years. All these guys came together and have only been together this year. So while they do have maybe the age and experience, they only have 1 year of experience as a team this season.
What are your biggest question marks or biggest questions when studying Houston?
Gosh, Houston's just so tough. And how do you out-tough them? That's kind of what it comes down to. The physicality battle of this game is going to be intense. And honestly, I think it's going to be pretty insane. But how do you stop them? Emmanuel Sharp, I keep calling him the sharpshooter because that's what he is. How do you stop those guys?
Well, they have had instances where they go cold. And that has been a problem for a couple of years, 2-3 years, that there are stretches where this team struggles to score. And even with Kingston Flemings, that has been at times an issue. And this year, I think it's a little bit more pronounced because you don't have that inside threat. Last year, experience. It was an experienced group. You could dump the ball down low to Juwan Roberts and he could go to work. He had a bunch of different spin moves, low post, and he could really go to work in there. Another issue right now is that JoJo Tugler, when he's on the floor, he's phenomenal, but sometimes he gets in foul trouble, and when he's in foul trouble, that's also trouble for the Cougs.
Yeah, that's not going to help you too much. If
No.
you're always in foul trouble.
No. As far as A&M fans, have you seen a lot? Because I've seen a
Couple.
lot in Nebraska.
Yeah.
A couple, only a couple?
Only a couple.
Really?
I thought it would be a lot more. But
Maybe they're
think-
traveling more for the second round
I
game?
was going to
Maybe,
say, I
yeah.
think that Thursday slate might have made it a little tougher, but now Saturday, it seems like it's okay. We have seen quite a few kids, though. It seems like this is a good spring break time.
Yep.
So some kids have come out. We talked to a couple kids actually the other day who were sitting and just so patiently waiting to see A&M's name pop up because, as we know, they were one of the last. And they were like, we're not going to get in. And then finally they heard their name called. They were jumping for joy because OKC was possible for them. They were like, we can get there. So I think we'll see more of a turnout from A&M fans today, but on Thursday it was definitely a little bit of a smaller crowd, but hey, it still had a pretty big impact on what they were able to do, and the fans that were there were pretty loud, so it helped.
We didn't see a lot of fans outside of the arena, but I feel like once we got inside, we saw a lot more fans, in their seats and cheering everyone on, but we also did come across some fans that were here in 2016 for A&M. We actually interviewed one girl. She was, what did she say? She was 11 years old at the time, and it was so awesome to see that she came when she was 11 and then now she's back here again, 10 years later and still cheering on the Aggies. So their fans are pretty loyal, I must say.
Yeah.
Rashawn Agee, big game in round one. Is he the X factor or is it Rylan Griffin? Or is it somebody else?
Yeah, I was like, I think that's the best part about A&M is their depth with what they're able to do. I mean, they have just dominated when it comes to bench points and guys who are able to step up. Rylan Griffin has gotten so hot here late in the season, which has really helped A&M. In fact, his career high game was his junior season when he was playing for Kansas. It was against Houston. He put up 17 points in that game.
We need that energy.
He seems to have a little bit of he seems to know a little bit about what it takes to, battle the Cougs there. But I don't know. I think Rylan Griffin's going to need to really be key. But honestly, if Ruben Dominguez can get hot, I've never seen someone hit a three so effortlessly.
Yeah.
The way he just swishes, it's like silent.
Yeah.
It's so good. So if Ruben can get hot and knock down some threes, I think he could really be a secret weapon in this one.
It's interesting you bring up the bench and the depth. That's going to be, for me, really interesting to see, given that Houston has developed a bit more of a bench this year, and I think how they perform in this game will be huge because Houston plays so hard and is so tough and so tenacious. You will see guys on the Cougs almost like in hockey tap their helmet like, I need a breather, I need a breather. You will see that, and the next guy has to go in. And this year, we've seen Mercy Miller step up. We've seen Chase McCarty. Ramon Walker is the epitome of toughness. So those guys, it'll be really interesting to see, aside from foul trouble, how many minutes those guys get. Texas A&M goes 9-10 deep. Is that basically the formula for them this season?
Yeah, they can. I mean, it just seems like they find ways to continue to stretch and just find guys that step up and they're able to rotate through that. Marcus Hill, one of those guys who's been able to kind of come in big moments. I was just joking with him. I was like, you need an NIL deal with Crest because you've got the biggest and widest smile I've ever seen. He's just always so happy out there on the floor. But with Agee and his impact, I want to go back to him. He is really the heart and soul of this team. They come together, they rally around him. He's also got one of those big smiles on his face, and when he's feeling it, he's feeling it.
You'll see all game. He does not stop smiling.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing ever. No matter what's happening, he's got a smile on his face, and he really just leads the team with a lot of positivity for sure.
We were in the Texas A&M locker room along with you.
Yeah.
What's the sense that you two get from the Aggies? Do they look at this game as a measuring stick at all, given Houston's reputation in college basketball?
I actually asked the team, because I said, you have Bucky ball, and then you have a Houston team that's extremely physical, and it's going to be tough. Like, Bucky described it best as the starting 5 on Houston. They look like T-Rexes out there. Like, you're going to have to come out with some sort of game plan that's going to stop the starting 5. And I asked all the players, I'm like, what is the definition of tough for this game? Because it completely changes now. And a lot of them just said, we got to stick to playing A&M basketball. We got to, bring that momentum from last game into this one. So I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be a challenge for both teams, but
it's funny you say A&M basketball, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but when you say A&M basketball, it's kind of that old Mike Tyson saying that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Absolutely.
And I think that's going to be very interesting to see how A&M reacts when they get punched in the mouth by Houston and its toughness and its ferociousness and everything that Houston does.
Yeah, well, when A&M played Florida this season, that did not go well for them at all. I was actually at that game, and they kept trying to find a response, and there was nothing there. So rebounding and finding those answers is going to be key for A&M, because they know it's not going to be an easy battle at all. We're across the board, I think we're all on the same
well
page.
Aware.
It's going to be tough. We've said that word so many times now. But yeah, for A&M, as far as this being a measuring stick of where they're at, I think it's a great test. And it's a great test for Bucky and what he's done and how he's leading this team and putting those pieces together. So I think it is a big measuring stick. But I think the best part about these guys is how much they love being the underdogs. We asked AG after the St. Mary's game. I was like, how many brackets do you think he busted? He goes, I hope we broke them all. I hope nobody picks us, because we want to be the underdogs.
Mm-hmm. Getting that early lead, too, I think is going to be really crucial for the Aggies. I mean, they came out with a 10-point lead against St. Mary's, and they started off hot, and they had the lead the entire game, and I think the guys are really looking to do something like that today as well.
What is Bucky like, and what is he like cover? What is it like covering Bucky?
So fun.
Yeah.
Really
Why?
So fun. I just feel like he has the best approach to things. He's very respectful too, especially as members of the media who have to talk to him often. If a team loses by 20, you're expecting a grumpy coach, but he comes in the same way every time. He does his job, and the way that he executes is so fun. I love his energy. It's infectious. It bleeds into his guys, and you can tell he's so knowledgeable about the game, and he cares so much, and it makes a big impact.
I get the sense that he is still the high school coach a bit in terms of not the wow factor, but
a little bit of
look
the
at
wow
where I am.
Yeah.
Do you get that sense?
Yeah. I think it's
Absolutely.
really impressive. I mean, what he's done in his first year alone, coming in here. I mean, like you said, high school coach, and then to Samford, and then now in the SEC. And it's like your first time, coaching and at this level, and you're already in an NCAA game in the second round. I think it's just really impressive, and the way he is so positive, like Sydney said, I think that really translates onto the team and onto the floor, and that's why they've been so successful.
I hope he never loses that magic either. It's like when you're a little kid and you have that sparkle in your eye and you're like, wow, I'm a star. Like, it feels so good under these lights, and I think that adds to who he is and why this team relates to him so well.
Once again, we are in Oklahoma City, site of the round of 32 game between Houston and Texas A&M. If you're watching this on Facebook, drop us a question, a comment, maybe something you want to know about these teams. If you are familiar with one and not the other, let us know. We're here. We've been here since the beginning. It's funny how things thin out after that first day of action, and now we've seen so many Nebraska fans. I didn't see a lot of St. Mary's fans.
No, that's a tough drive for them, though.
It is.
California, that's tough.
We saw a decent number of Idaho people. I can report that the Cougar mascot Shasta, there's now an inflatable Shasta in front of the team hotel. And I can also tell you this, the Cougs' departure today from their hotel had a little bit of a wrinkle because the bus broke down. It was not working. So this was maybe 25 to 30 to 40 minutes before their scheduled departure. A mechanic was brought on site.
Gotcha.
They did some tinkering, something way above our heads, and they were able to get it back up and running. So the Cougs did leave their hotel in time for the arena. They left at 3:10, obviously for the 5:10 game. And what's also interesting, because for those of you who haven't been to Oklahoma City, it's really convenient.
So convenient.
So convenient.
So convenient.
Where the hotels are and the teams are staying.
Yeah. I keep saying this is the biggest small city I feel like I've ever been in.
Yeah.
It's a big town, but it feels so small. Everything's right here around the corner, and it helps when it's that close. A&M, I mean, it was like a 7-minute drive for us to get over to their
the hotel,
It wasn't too bad.
Exactly. And here's another example of big city, small town. Let's see. Over there is the arena. It's right behind us.
Literally.
So, thank you, Sergio. There's the arena, Paycom Center, which doesn't have many years left, because across the street they are digging and doing all the work to get the new Oklahoma City Thunder arena up and running. And I didn't really look to see what the start date of that is, but it's coming soon, people.
It looks like it's still a lot of work in progress. We'll just say that. Lots of dirt and not a lot of anything built up quite
yet. And not
yet.
only can we see the progress,
we can hear
the progress
when going to sleep. I do know, though, it's $900 million for the budget for that. So we'll see what it has. A lot of bells and whistles,
What's
probably.
a couple $100 million among friends?
Nothing.
What's a couple $100 million among friends? So Texas A&M, they've used a number of different starting lineups.
Oh, yeah.
Do we expect to see the one that they have here on the game notes?
I think so. I think we're going to stick to what we've seen so far. Maybe the only difference is maybe not Marcus Hill and swapping that out, but I think we're going to stick to what we had so far.
So who would be, if you swapped out Marcus Hill?
If we didn't do Marcus, gosh, I don't know. It's tough. I don't think, maybe is Zach?
Zach, yeah.
I was going to say, he's really also gotten hot here down the stretch too, so... But I kind of like Marcus in that role to start off. I think we're going to see something really similar.
Yeah.
I know we were just talking about the Paycom Center. Of course, we know the Thunder play over there too. Alex Caruso, of course, an A&M legend, and fans love him. I thought it was awesome. Bucky had talked about how earlier in the season they talked to Caruso and got some motivation. He was like, Caruso was kind of an underdog his entire career. And then look at the stage he's at now, and an NBA champion and everything that he's been able to do. And so he's like, that's something that this team is fueled off of. We know we're the underdogs, but look at Caruso and what he's done. We're playing in his house. Let's make him proud. That's kind of how they felt, though. But I like that chippiness that they brought up and bringing in guys like that who are able to hype them up, relate to their story, and be able to talk about that. I wish he was here. I was hoping to see him on the
I'm
court.
sure he wishes he was here, too.
I'm sure, yeah.
And it's interesting you bring that up, because for a long time, Houston has been an underdog. And only in the past few years has this team, the recruiting class that is currently freshmen, one of the best recruiting classes, if not the best one that Houston has ever had. But that's what Houston hangs its hat on prior to this, was developing guys. They don't lose a lot of guys in the portal. They'll pick up one or two here. But it's amazing to see some of these guys, they come in. Kelvin Sampson, for the most part, takes 3 4-star guys and turns them into NBA players. And that's what he's done. Now, he's had a few. Quentin Grimes, who is now in the NBA, he was a big-time prospect, but did not do well, I would say, at his previous school, Kansas. He was a Houston area kid, comes back, and listen, when you are in Mr. Sampson's class, there are some non-negotiables, and obviously defense is one of them. And I think when you look at some of the Houston players, just how they play defense, right there, I think you can make an NBA living, just because of how you approach the game and how you play defense and the mindset. So it's interesting that you mentioned about the underdog and how Texas A&M really embraces that, because for years Houston was an underdog, and only recently has this team become a juggernaut. And in many ways, it's not because they were getting the best high school prospects in the country.
Now that they are one of these top-tier teams, how do you think Coach Sampson gets them over the hump and finally brings home a national championship?
Well, listen, last year's team, I think that was the team. I'm not saying this team can't do it, but last year's team had all of the ingredients,
Yeah.
especially experience. Experience means so much.
So much.
Yeah.
And they were one possession away. One possession away. So I don't look at it as getting this team over the hump. Kelvin Sampson, whether they won that game or lost that game, is no different as a head coach. This idea that someone's better, that they won a national championship, Kelvin Sampson's the same guy. He is the same guy he was a year ago that he is now. Now, is he different from 10 years ago? Without a doubt, because of all the experience and all of the adventures he's had, and he knows how to build a program. It will take certainly some luck, because I think when you go deep in the tournament, you need some luck, and maybe this is the game that Houston needs some luck. But if they live up to their mantra of defense and toughness, and they hit shots, they will be a tough out. And I think you put that on the table and you hope for the best, because anything can happen when it's one and done.
What do you think is the biggest thing that could trip up Houston tonight?
I think it is lack of inside scoring. Can I give you three?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's
Top
do it.
three.
Lack of inside scoring, going cold from outside, and then foul trouble. You put
Okay.
those together, and I think that's like the magic potion that Houston will have big problems with. If you put all of those three together, it's not going to be a good night for Houston. I think they can survive with one of those things, maybe two, but you put all three, and it's going to be a big problem for the Cougs.
We know part of A&M's fast-paced Bucky ball style that they like to play comes with their ability to force turnovers too. Do you see that being a problem for Houston?
Well, I do like the fact that they have experience for the most part in their backcourt with
Yep.
Milos Uzan and Emmanuel Sharp, and they've been there, done that. And you will see Kingston Flemings, who is, let's be honest, a top 5 or top 10 NBA draft pick next year.
Yep.
Or when this season, I should say, is over. So when you put those things together, I feel like they have enough to be able to handle that. Now, constant pressure, 40 minutes of it,
Yeah.
they're going to need some help. They're going to need some help. So Kingston, I think, will have to shoulder some of the load, maybe a little bit of Mercy Miller, but if I like the fact that Houston was not tested per se in its first game, so you were able to rest guys. You didn't have guys playing all 40 minutes, and I think that obviously is going to be important in this game, given how much pressure Bucky likes to apply on the opposing team.
Yeah, I think that's really key, especially when we've seen how A&M has done with back-to-back games when they've played tight. They played LSU, went into triple overtime in that game, turn around for the SEC tournament, then lose to Oklahoma big time. Like, that pressure really got to them, and they had a little bit of time to rest. Obviously, St. Mary's, they were able to get a big win over them, but they were tested by St. Mary's at times. And, you know, that was a team that, you know, was physical, and we talked about all the height that they had to go up against in that one. So could that be a disadvantage for A&M, the maybe tougher opponent that they played and the whole bench that they had to use? Could guys be more tired?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's definitely something I worry about, because like you said, I mean, Houston was able to rest a lot of their key players or to not play the entire game, or A&M had to, had to have their starting 5 out there, and then, everyone came off the bench and really executed as well. And now, you turn around 24 hours, 48 hours later, and you're playing another game, and you got to do it all over again. So I definitely think Houston has the advantage there.
That is the beauty of the tournament, right?
Yeah,
I'm
March
checking some of the.
Madness.
I'm sorry.
I said March Madness.
Madness,
Exactly.
yeah.
Checking in some of our comments here. Steven Snyder, good to see you. He says, "Go Houston! Have you all been smack talking to each other?" Listen,
We're friends.
the amount of time that we have here working,
Yeah.
we don't have anything. We have no
There's
time
no
to
time.
smack
No
talk.
time, yeah.
We're too busy working. Come on, Steven, you know us better than that. You know us better than that. But I do think that it will be interesting to see the crowd dynamics in that building.
For sure.
The Houston fans, they've traveled pretty well for this one.
Yeah.
And they are so excited knowing where the next
Game is.
next two games.
Yep.
But I imagine A&M people are also excited about
Yeah,
that because
far.
it's such a short drive.
Absolutely. And, it's crazy too the history these two teams have shared. Back
Yep.
in 2024,
Yep.
that tournament game,
I was there.
overtime. You
Overtime,
know, when we
yeah.
talked to the players, they, of course, for Houston, they were bragging about it. They're like, we know we've had A&M's number recently. They're proud of it, and they don't want to break that streak anytime soon.
No.
They want to keep adding on to it and continue
streak.
that pride.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And of course, the A&M guys.
Want to break it.
Yeah, but none of them were there for that game.
Exactly.
Whole new.
They had to learn all about it.
But again, that's how college basketball lives right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up.
Yeah,
What
I
do
think
you
that was
say?
good.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a game to get to.
We do
So-
have a game to get to.
Before you know it.
Exactly. So for Sydney and Madison, I'm Jason Bristol. Thank you for watching. This has been your pregame, if you will, as we're getting ready for Texas A&M and Houston. Enjoy the game, everybody.